Hey, can you say hi, everyone?
Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing a long-awaited adoption Q&A. So we're going to be answering all of your questions, and we got these questions from my Instagram poll and also from the YouTube community tab. So if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you follow us over there. If you are hearing some background noise during this video, it's because Tyanna and her Gigi, my mom, are upstairs playing right now and watching movies, and we also have 5 kittens running around our apartment.
Seems like our house is usually hectic.
Yeah, and without any further ado, let's get right into the questions. We had a lot of great ones, and we picked the most commonly asked ones to answer because obviously we can't answer every single question in this video or it would be super long. And one of the top questions was, why did you choose to adopt? Were you struggling with infertility? No, we weren't struggling with infertility, so I'll just answer that question right away because a lot of people assume because we adopted that we went through infertility. We did not try to get pregnant.
Yeah, so we actually didn't intend to adopt out the gate. We actually just started off by wanting to foster and help out. We have a huge problem here in our state of West Virginia. And we said, hey, we got some extra time and we have the resources. Why don't we pitch in and help out? And when we signed up for the foster care program, it was just as easy to go ahead and get approved for adoption while we were in the process. So we said, you know what, why not? Let's just do the whole thing because you never know what could happen. But when we knew we were ready to adopt is basically as soon as Tyanna hit my arms. It wasn't that early because of course we had to keep an open mind because when you foster, more than likely they're going to go back to their parents or to family or somebody like that. But I would say it was a few months in when we really started considering it was a possibility. And it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, we were already deeply in love.
Yeah, and so to answer the question, the reason we chose adoption over having a biological child was we've been talking about it since we were younger, that it's something we were really interested in, and we just kind of felt called to do it and go down that path. So that's how we ended up doing foster care and adoption.
There it is.
Question number 2 is another very commonly asked question, some in nice way and some in not so nice ways, and that is, why did you choose interracial adoption? And we didn't really choose interracial adoption, to be honest. We filled out an application to be foster and adoptive parents, and under the race box, we checked any. So there was like boxes where you could check what race of child you would be willing to foster. We checked any child, and then Tyanna came to us. Race actually wasn't a factor in our decision making, although we know it's extremely important during her childhood growing up in the adoption process. It's not our why.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, this one bothers me a little bit when we are approached in an aggressive manner, and it happens a lot. And I can appreciate the concern. We are trying to be as open-minded as possible and continue to educate ourselves on all of this, on interracial adoption, African-American culture. I promise you guys we're doing our best. But I think a lot of people think, and maybe this is the case in some instances, but a lot of people think that we went up to a bunch of babies and we were like, we want the black baby. That's not what happened. That's not how it went. We checked any race on the box and we said yes to every potential foster that came our way. And there was 2 potential fosters before Tyanna. Both of those fell through. A family stepped in or something like that. And then we got the call for Tyanna. And quite frankly, we just thought it was another one that was going to fall through. And we said yes. And when she got to us, she just happened to be an African-American baby girl. And I mean, I don't know what people wanted us to do at that point. Say, no, thank you. No, thank you. We don't want an African-American baby, because I feel like that would be the negative thing to do or the wrong thing to do or the immoral thing to do, in my opinion. So I can appreciate the concern, and when we are approached with an open mind, we are open to listening to that. But when we are attacked aggressively for doing interracial adoption, it is frustrating. I'll just admit it, for me it's frustrating and aggravating when we are giving this little girl the best home possible and doing our best to raise her appropriately.
We understand the concern with the ethics of interracial adoption. We have done our research. We know that there's a large number of African American children in the foster care system, more than there should be. We understand that. Also, some people's argument was we should not have adopted her then. We should have let her go to a Black or African American family, but that honestly was not an option for us.
There was nobody that stepped forward.
We were completely in love with her and she was bonded to us. We fostered her for almost 2 years before she was adopted. So I feel like that would have been just as traumatic.
Yeah, I think another thing I want to make clear is it wasn't us or somebody else. There was nobody else. no family, no friends, no other foster or adoptive parents stepped forward. It was literally us or she goes back into the system. And we already knew we could provide her a great home and a wonderful family just being with us. So we just felt like that was the right choice, and we stand by that.
The next question is going to be, why did Tyanna go into the foster care system? This is asked all the time on Instagram and YouTube, and we're actually not going to talk about that. If she wants to talk about it when she's older, she's welcome to, but due to her privacy and the privacy of her biological family, that's something that we're not going to address. Sorry, we try to be as open with you as possible, but this is one thing we feel like we need to protect for her until she's able to make that decision.
Yeah, we agree that will be her story to tell if she so chooses. Now, when she's older, let's say she's 10, 11, 12, and she understands everything, and we're still making videos like this, which I hope we are, then maybe we all sit down together and open that up with you guys.
Okay, I don't know what question we're on, but another question is going to be, does Tyanna have contact or relationship with her biological family, / do you have an open adoption? At this point, we do not have a closed adoption, but we also don't have an open adoption. She doesn't have contact with any of her biological family. We are hoping that will change in the future because we would love to make that connection and let them have a relationship if we can.
Let's actually talk about that dynamic for a second, because Rihanna is more open to this than I am. And it's not that I want a closed adoption, but if it's going to be an open adoption, I want it to be people that really want to be in her life. So for me, and for you guys who don't understand what exactly that is, an open adoption is when she still has connection or visitation or sees her biological family, whether that's her birth parents or grandparents, whomever it may be. And for me, I'm not close to it, but you would have to show me that you really, really want to be in her life and be a permanent figure in her life, not just show up the occasional holiday and send the occasional letter or card. I want whomever's in her life to be 100% supportive and in her life. Rihanna is a little bit more open to that and is just open to giving almost anybody a shot or a chance, but I am probably more rigorous in who I would choose for that to be.
I really think it's important she has a relationship with her biological mother. I feel that I am able to fill the stable mother role. I am her mother, but I feel like even if her biological mother's not perfect, it's still important to open up that relationship, or at least have that door open for when she wants it.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. I grew up with the unstable relationship,
Well, me too,
and so
yeah.
I didn't love it. I didn't love one Christmas getting a bunch of gifts from somebody, and then the next Christmas looking forward to that, and they weren't there. So that's not something that I want her to ever experience. You may be saying that, well, as long as she gets gifts one time or gets to see somebody one time, I just don't see it the same way, but we'd love to see y'all's perspective. Please comment down below and let us know, would you guys prefer an open or closed adoption? And if it were open, what would be your requirements for that to happen? Because I'm open to changing my mind, and you always are too. We both talk about this all the time, but that's where we stand on that subject.
Right. I grew up also with an unstable parent or unreliable father figure, so I feel though that was better than not having it at all.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Teach
Although
learn.
there was like pain and trauma obviously involved, I think just having the door shut and no option would have been worse.
Which actually should lead us to our next question. It's a question I got on my Instagram, and then that was, have we had to remove anybody from our life or leave anybody behind that did not support an interracial adoption? And I will kind of start this off, because yes and no. I'm going to be honest and say that I don't think anybody's came out and said that we do not support interracial adoption, but it was the lack of support that had some people removed from our life. And that was my choosing. It was on my side of the family. And I think that Tyanna had been with us for months, and it became years where people wouldn't step in, wouldn't say hi, wouldn't reach out, wouldn't call, wouldn't support, wouldn't show up to be there, where otherwise, if it was a biological baby, I'm just being honest here, would the support have been higher? Probably so. And so for me, it was an easy decision. I will protect her from that as much as I possibly can until she's old enough to make those decisions herself.
I think you can say if it was a biological child, the situation would have been different, because there have been biological children born in your family that were approached a different way, or everybody dropped what they're doing and drove there after
Correct.
the baby's
Correct.
born.
There was it was a quite obvious more support for biological born children inside the family than when we fostered and adopted, and it was just too too obvious and egregious for me to ignore that for Tyanna.
For Tyanna, yeah. Like for us, every decision we make is for her.
Exactly.
We're getting deep on this.
Yeah.
This is a
well,
real
Nick,
one.
we appreciate you guys following, and like I feel like a lot of you guys are pretty deep into our lives, and we open up with you guys. It's almost like therapy sometimes for us.
Which will lead us kind of into the next question. How do you keep Tyanna connected to Black culture or African American culture? How do you make sure that she's not missing on those experiences? Okay, so the first thing we did was an intentional effort when we were house shopping. We didn't move outside of city limits. The West Virginia population, like John said, is a minority African American, but within the Charleston city limits, the African American community is much larger. So we did want to buy land and buy a house with a farm and things like that. But once we started going out into the country, or down the hollers as they call it here, it's basically all white people. So we decided that that was not a experience we wanted her to have. We wanted her to be around kids who looked like her and who could share culture with her.
One of the large negatives for us living in West Virginia is it's not very diverse. Okay, it's probably, I think it might be one of the least diverse states. I would bet, I haven't looked this up, but I bet it's in the top 10, if not top 5, of the least amount of diversity. We lived in LA, we lived in San Francisco, we lived in Maui, we lived near DC, and the diversity was everywhere, and we loved that. We love being around other cultures and learning from others and getting different perspectives. And I attribute a lot of that, us living in those places, to opening our minds. And so we want that for her too. So we did stay in the city. And I'll let you touch on some more things that you do, because Rihanna is excellent at this.
Another thing about staying in the city limits was if we are here when she happens to enter school age, elementary school age, she will be going to a way more diverse school. If we had moved outside the city, the diversity would be almost non-existent. We made sure that her daycare is diverse. We toured it and everything like that. So we're making sure that out in her like social circle, outside of us and our friends, she is in a situation that's best for her. As for her hair care, I take that very seriously, and it's a big part of everything we do. So I've made videos about this, but YouTube videos, I follow Instagrams, I've taken her to get her hair professionally done so that I can watch and learn and hear from the stylist on what is best for her. We do everything that we need to be doing, and also read books and talk about her hair all the time. So I think that's very important that she doesn't miss that experience. And also introducing books into her that talk about interracial adoption, books that are primarily from African American authors.
And I think I want to, say this, I'm just opening up here. Before all this, before we fostered her and before we adopted her and before we started educating ourselves, I think I was a little bit on the side of, why does it matter if she has, African American friends? Why does it matter if she's around that culture, as long as she's loved and supported? And that's probably where I stood. And I wasn't being mean. I was uneducated. I was ignorant. And so I had to open my mind and realize why it was so important to her and her culture. And when she grows up, she's going to have questions and wonder why people are around her and the right people are supporting her. Sorry, I get a little emotional talking about her. So we opened our mind and we educated ourselves. And if you don't know, or if you are leaning that way like I once was, please educate yourself, because it's super important. Okay, hold on. I just get passionate.
Another question was, how old was Tyanna when she came to you? She was 11 months old, and then that's when we started fostering her. When we adopted her, she was almost 3 years old.
Yeah.
So that's how long the whole process took, for those that are wondering.
She's growing so fast.
I know, she's getting so big. Another question we got a lot was, are you going to have biological children? No, we're not. And are you going to adopt other children so that she'll have siblings? We are undecided on that.
Can we address how rude that is?
Yeah, you can.
All right, hold on. Not every time. It's a lot of things in how you ask or how you approach or how you say things. I do understand that. But we have been approached before in public, and obviously Tyanna is not our biological daughter, and the person knows that, and they'll say something like, well, just wait until you have your own. Don't say that.
No, she is our own.
Yeah.
That's insane and very rude and insensitive.
Absolutely.
We will very quickly correct people when they approach us like that,
Yeah.
especially now that she can understand.
Yeah, please educate yourself before you say things like that to people that are adoptive or fostering, because they look at that child as if it's their very own. I mean, I don't even think about like that we never
birthed her.
Yeah, it doesn't even cross my mind.
Absolutely not. And as for fostering or adopting more children, like I said, we are not closed to the idea. We're not actively seeking an opportunity to do so, but our phone is always opened if they happen to call us. John is very interested in fostering older or adopting older children because, as we've learned being involved in the foster care system, kids over 10 have a much lower chance of getting a foster or adoptive home because a lot of people don't want to, for lack of a better way to describe this, deal with their issues.
Yeah, well, there's a lot when you adopt an older child, right? And we wouldn't adopt an older child until Tyanna is old enough to be able to communicate at a high level. But I do feel sorry for the older kids in foster care that, like you said, when they reach 10, 11, 12, 13, their chances of ever getting adopted or finding a forever home are very low. And that, kind of just really sad to me. So if we could help them in the future, I would love to do that.
And another question we got is, what did you wish you knew about adoption before you adopted? And we'll both answer. So mine would be, I wish that I knew that it wasn't just happy or positive. It's traumatic and there's loss involved and grief involved. Even though Tyanna wasn't old enough to understand that at the time, she will experience that as she grows up. And Tyanna's birth mother and birth family experienced that. They lost her and we kind of gained her, which I have like bittersweet feelings about.
Yeah.
When we adopted her, my heart was still broken for her biological mother who wasn't able to have all these experiences with her, although I'm so grateful that we are able to. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah. Do you remember when I attempted to talk in court?
Yeah.
So again, we can't tell everything, but there was a time when we had to go to court for her biological mother's hearing, and they allowed us to speak, and I stood up and was perfectly composed, and I kind of just wanted to say, I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry that I just wanted to speak on the behalf of Tyanna, and I lost it. I didn't make it through it because at the end of the day, on behalf of Tyanna, I was basically saying goodbye. Oh man.
Okay.
I'm not even like sad or something. I'm like, it's like so emotional for me.
I know. John reacts in the moment emotionally, and I have like a
Get
delayed
it
reaction.
together.
I think it's from nursing because I can keep it together until later. So I still very have feelings, even though you guys never see me emotional.
All right, let me say,
here.
on the behalf of Tyanna, I was essentially saying goodbye to her mother. It was for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the future might hold, but that's what I was doing. Get it together. Okay.
I've never seen you cry so much until we had a daughter.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you've ever cried before. that.
Facts. Yeah, so I think that was one thing that I didn't know, is that I would be so emotional and so attached and so protective. And gosh, okay. And one way I surprised myself is I didn't think I'd be a terrible father, but I didn't think that I would have the tools or patience or experience to be an outstanding parent. So I was very worried at that. So one thing that surprised me with that was that I think I'm a good dad.
You're a great dad. You're an amazing dad. And she loves you so much.
Stop trying to make me cry. she tries to do it on purpose.
No, I'm just saying. I know I tell you that a lot, but you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Love you.
Love you. All right. Another question I had on my Instagram was, is it expensive to foster or adopt a child? And actually, I think I talked about this on another video, but adopting through foster care is probably the most financially intelligent way to go about this, or savvy way. It's the frugal investor approved. Again, we didn't do this intentionally. Again, we just wanted to foster, and we didn't know all this. We actually didn't know, but you get money every single month. You shouldn't do it just for this, please. But understand, if you want to help a child in need, and maybe you're not in the best financial position and you would like some help to do so, the government steps in this instance. So it can really help out. It doesn't cover every single thing all the time, but it can really help out and help you help a child in need. So I love that. I think a lot of people steer away from foster and adopt because they've heard how expensive it is to adopt. And usually that's in the case of a private adoption or an international adoption. And that does become extremely expensive. There's different feelings about that. You can think what you will. We're not going to get into the ethics of that. We're not going to debate that on this video. But that's what you're hearing about when it becomes extremely expensive. But the foster to adopt is actually super cheap, or could even be free, depending on how much money you need to survive.
I feel like that's not advertised enough, that DHHR or social services in certain states, like not a lot of people know that you can adopt that way for virtually for free. So people that are trying to grow their family and are financially limited have this option, but many of them don't know. I think it would be something good for OBs, obstetric doctors, to kind of know and be able to kind of guide people down this path.
Absolutely. So I think that's a great way to go about it. And again, it does not have to be expensive. So if you want to help a child, you can do it for free. Foster to adopt.
You just need to have time and love.
Yes. So do you have any
One
other?
more question.
Okay.
A lot of people were curious, have we ever met Tyanna's biological family? We have met her biological mother in court, like John said, and we have a lot of love for her.
It was completely amicable, by the way. Mm-hmm. We were, of course, I got emotional.
Yeah,
as you see, but it was emotional. But she said thank you.
Yeah, Tyanna wasn't there, obviously, but it was very emotional, a very powerful moment. We have a lot of love for her. I honestly feel her pain. I know I can't feel it how she feels it, but I empathize with her pain. My heart breaks for her. I think about her a lot. So hopefully we get to know her one day better.
Yep.
And I think that kind of wraps it up, right?
Yeah, we appreciate all the questions you guys ask. As always, we always appreciate all your support, all the love you show to Tyanna. We know that 95% of you guys watch for Tyanna. Fair enough. Sorry she wasn't on this video. We could go get her and let her say bye.
Do you want to go get her?
Do you guys want to say bye to Tyanna? We'll go, because she's definitely up from her nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, go grab Tyanna.
You go get her. Okay. Go get her. I was going to talk to them while you go get her. Okay. So when we're making these videos, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because we feel that we have to like word everything carefully, because when you're not having a conversation and you're just speaking, sometimes things can be taken out of context. So if you have any questions about what we said or you want further explanation, make sure you comment below and let us know. We're open to opinions and thoughts and feelings and sharing of stories, and we love hearing from you guys. I think they're coming now. Hi, baby! Did mommy and daddy make a movie?
Hey, Kate, can you say hi, everyone? Can you say like and subscribe?
Thumbs up!
Thumbs up! Say bye-bye, everyone. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you.
See you on the next one.
All right, try to get a couple kisses.